into the Edge documentary and a couple of shoots that you saw. I guess the big news coming out of the wrestling world, the shocking news. In fact, rather than me, read it to everybody, I'll actually play some audio about it. This is Kev. This is shocking. It shocked the wrestling world. All right, you ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
2 minutes long. If I have audio, oh, I know what I did. I'm sorry. I actually took the person's audio off. All right, here it is. The news that shocked the wrestling world.
The big signing that you guys announced last week. You guys shocked the pro wrestling world and the MMA world. You signed King Mo. What led to you guys signing Mo? Was it something that you guys were looking at and signing him before? Because he's always been a huge pro wrestling fan.
Well, King Mo in particular, no, quite honestly. But, for the last couple of years, I felt like if we had that right talent and, we worked with an MMA organization and we cross-promoted and kept it real and made it big, that it could be huge. I know that we can break a star. I know that we can show that person's personality and help a fighter break in that way. And there's so many of the MMA guys that wrestling is their thing, and I had talked, with other MMA guys in the past, and quite honestly, they just didn't get it. They didn't want to go there, and, that's fine. But I think, once Kevin Kay, the president of Spike, introduced me to Bjorn at Bellator, I brought this idea up to him the first time we met, and he loved it. He totally got it. He's an outside-the-box thinker, and, it was just then a matter of, okay, who do we get? Originally, I had thought about taking somebody from the wrestling world because there's several of our guys who really want to fight and, taking it that way. But the more we talked about it, we just felt like to make it as legit as possible, let's get a killer MMA guy, somebody that just has a record that's undisputed, but who also has, a serious wrestling background. And if we can find the love for professional wrestling, that would be, make it even that much better. And, when King Mo, we heard that he might be available, God, it was the perfect combination. It was that lethal combination of background, experience, personality, character.
Blah, 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 blah. I guess she forgot about...
Yeah, please, I can't listen to that horror anymore.
She forgot about Bobby Lashley.
Who was that, by the way?
What?
Who was that, by the way?
That was Dixie Carter.
Ugh, please.
I'm gonna totally rip her to shreds later when I get into a little bit of MMA stuff because I actually did some research for the last couple of days regarding people that have been in MMA.
I don't understand with all the hype over hiring a guy who has not been in the spotlight since Men on a Mission. I don't understand what is the hype about that? I don't get it. He wasn't even the big guy.
I'd rather see Sir Mo than King Mo, to be honest.
I don't know who King Mo is. I never heard of this guy.
Kev, you know why she's an idiot?
No idea who that is.
Dixie, if you hear this, because I know a lot of people.
Sounds like a character from What's Happening.
Let me say this with the utmost respect. The reason why you're an idiot.
Think they can do anything stupid, they do it.
Yeah. See, I call you an idiot because that is what you are. But at least I explain why you're an idiot. Because she did a conference call last week. And in the conference call, she said that when they inked King Mo to do, the cross promotion of wrestling and MMA, she revealed in the conference call that nobody knew about the deal except for her, Spike TV, Bellator, and King Mo himself. All right? Now think about that, Kev. The only people that knew about the deal were her, Spike, Bellator, and King Mo. How the fuck does Dixie Carter bring in somebody without talking to anybody in creative? Imagine if Vince McMahon signed somebody with no exposure to the wrestling scene, to the mainstream wrestling audience, and then introduces him to creative. I mean, Vince obviously could do what the fuck she wants, but Dixie Carter is an airhead. She's making these business decisions without discussing it with creative, with Hogan, with whoever, first saying, look, what do you think about this guy? You think this guy could do it? Blah, 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 blah. She didn't consult with anybody. And what's even funnier, Kev, and this is where I need your expertise. Dan Severn and Ken Shamrock, were they wrestlers before they won MMA?
Say it again?
Dan Severn and Ken Shamrock. Were they? Ken Shamrock was a wrestler before he went to MMA. Was Dan Severn a wrestler before he went to MMA?
I don't believe so. No, Ken Shamrock definitely was.
Okay. Not sure about Dan Severn, but here's the thing that this idiot needs to understand, okay? I'm going to read some names to you. Dan Severn, Ken Shamrock, Kazuyuki Fujita, Brock Lesnar, Bob Sapp, Sylvester Terkay, Dos Catos Jr., a.k.a. Alberto Del Rio, Ron H2O Waterman, Don Fry, Giant Silva, Kendo Kashin, Sean O'Hare, Ludwig Borga, Craig the Pitbull Pittman from WCW, and Bart Gunn. You know what all those names have in common?
They all failed miserably in wrestling, in MMA and wrestling.
Yeah, sort of, but what they all have in common is that they all wrestled before they went to MMA. The only three names, and I don't even think it's three, I think it's two, but the only three names that are prevalent that were MMA guys before they went into wrestling were Daniel Puder, Tank Abbott, and Josh Barnett. Okay? Did Daniel Puder, Tank Abbott, or Josh Barnett succeed in the wrestling business after doing MMA?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they succeeded?
I don't know.
They failed miserably. So how the fuck could she sign a guy without consulting with creative and bring a guy in where, if you look at the history of MMA guys that went to wrestling, the only exposure that you could refer to is Tank Abbott and Daniel Puder. Mm-hmm. So what if you bring this guy in and he's a total flop? What happens if
wrestling fans don't care about MMA, as MMA doesn't care about wrestling? They neither. You think it's a parallel universe, but it's not.
It's not.
It really isn't. It's not. No one cared about Tank Abbott in WCW.
No.
Nobody cared about Dan Severn.
No.
Ken Shamrock already wrestled. He's wrestling for that NWA territory.
Yeah.
Wrestling in Georgia, too. That's when he got jumped by the Nasty Boys, by the way.
Yeah, that's right.
Back in the late 80s, that happened.
Yeah.
That happened way before he got into MMA. He trained to be a wrestler and a professional wrestler. You know, it usually doesn't work. Brock was WWE superstar. He came back and got accolades because he was here and was a champion and was over. If you just took Brock and he was an MMA guy and never was in the WWE, it would have been a different story. Would have went over like a fart in church.
Right.
I mean, it's a fact. There's nothing to dispute. It's a fact. People have written articles about it. Wrestling fans don't care about MMA. The MMA doesn't care about and once again, a few people will say, I do. Once again, majority rules. That's great that 10 people out of 1,000 disagree, but it's majority rules.
And what's funny...
That's why these angles don't go very long.
Yeah, and look, maybe the guy will turn out to be a superstar. But Brock Lesnar and some of these other guys... Does this idiot realize how long they wrestled in developmental territory?
King Mo will go nowhere. First of all, I don't even know who he is. Someone sent me a picture of him. It doesn't matter what he looks like. No one cares.
Right.
It's like Tito Ortiz. If he tried to be a wrestler, no one would give a shit. It's too late. He's already known for something else. It's like no one gave a shit when, what's the basketball player, the greatest one of all time, who went and played baseball and nobody gave a shit?
Michael Jordan.
I
have a couple of those exhibition games. He actually, in the exhibition games,
but
he did pretty good.
Nobody cared.
I cared.
Dude, nobody cared. Once again, well, 1 out of 1 million. That's good.
Yeah, I thought Michael Jordan played okay.
I'm gonna open a store where 5% of my audience likes my product.
Yeah. And you know what?
I'm gonna open this, and I'll be open for 6 days.
Look at Dixie Carter's track record of bringing in non-wrestlers to wrestle. Jenna Maraska. Who's that black guy? The one that couldn't do any moves, but was a tag team.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You just name it a bunch of. No one's going to remember any of these people. It's irrelevant.
Yeah, I can't even remember their name.
It's like just like remembering Reno from the Natural Born Thrillers. Barely remember him because it wasn't a factor. It was like the black chick on Baseball Wives say. It's a good quote. Non-fucking factor. It is. It's complete non-factors. These people are. I don't even know why we even give them any airtime.
Well, because it's fun to shit on her sometimes, expose her stupidity. And he is the greatest part of all. He's
grand opening, grand closing, debut, and finale within a week.
He's currently under
suspension.
suspension.
He'll either get hurt or he'll get arrested or something like that will happen. So I wouldn't even waste my time.
Well, he's currently under suspension.
I waste enough time.
He's currently under suspension for steroids.
Oh, there you go. He sounds like a lovely man. That's
Yeah,
all.
well, let me go one step further. He actually got fired after calling a member of the Nevada State Athletic Commission a racist bitch.
He sounds like a beautiful person.
Yeah,
Sure, he'll do
Dixie,
very well.
Yeah, think outside
Kurt
the
Angle
box.
will be best friends with him.
You know what? Think outside my cock, not outside the box. We get more idiotic stuff later, but we have to talk about something that's a little bit more important.